Hello, everyone, and welcome to Time Out with Sports Adda. Hi, Arun. We are going to be talking about more T20 cricket today. Different T20 series starting soon. England versus Sri Lanka. Initial thoughts.
There was a time not too long ago, Akhil, when there was no cricket, and we were all left to reading books and watching movies and watching series on television. And suddenly, there's so much cricket, and you can look at the smiles on our faces. There's so much cricket, and it's only good for us.
It's very good for us. We've been following the Pakistan Super League, and now the new T20 series starts with Sri Lanka. Uh, Sri Lanka have been a lot of handling a lot of different issues off the field with the contracts, etc. They've gone into England. I don't know with what kind of mindset. I'm sure they will want to. If you remember, Aravinda De Silva, one of the selectors, had said that they should focus on winning matches rather than babbling over different issues. So it's going to be an interesting series. Sri Lanka are going to be challenging one of the premier sides in T20 cricket, isn't it?
Yeah, just looking at the T20I rankings, Akhil, England are the top ranked side currently, and Sri Lanka are 8th. So this is like, absolutely no match. I also say this is no match because I don't know what's happening in Sri Lanka. Yes, there's a lot of there's controversy, there's contract issues. There's no clarity in terms of selection. I really don't know. I mean, it's disappointing that Sri Lanka have gotten to where they are right now. At one point in time, Sri Lanka were one of the formidable sides. One day cricket, particularly in the white ball. I shouldn't discount the fact that they were one of the top sides in Test cricket when you had Sangha, Murli, Mahela, but things have just gone downhill rapidly.
And they've been T20 champions, if you remember. They won the World Cup 2014. They had a very, very sound squad that they had collected after that. But so many player changes, they've just not been able to find the solidity for building a good T20 squad. They've changed captains so many times. It's just a lot of unrest. And I mean, international cricket does need a good, strong Sri Lankan team because they have a very distinct flavor, especially to the short format game that they bring in. So I hope that there would be a chance where they revitalize their cricket and get back to winning ways. Thankfully, they're planning for the T20 World Cup seems to be going well. They are playing this white ball series against England, then there is a white ball series scheduled against India. So even if the players are not going to be playing the Indian T20 League or other leagues, they will be in fine form with the white ball cricket, and they'll have a large pool of players to select from. So that way, the selectors and Tom Moody, whatever they are thinking, I think they're doing a fine job that way.
I'm not sure I want to agree with you, Akhil, because you look around the world, you look around England, India, Australia, look around any of the big teams, and they know who 13 or 14 of the 15 are going to the
So
World
far,
Cup, right? Yeah, pick up England, pick up Australia, pick up India, they would know. Pick up Pakistan, even Pakistan. But look at what Sri Lanka have done. If you can look at the squad, Sri Lankan squad that the selectors have put together, where is the clarity? There's 24 players they've picked for a 6-match tour of England. There's 3 ODIs and 3 20s. But where is the clarity from the selectors? 24. I'm sorry, this needs to be India have 32, 33, 35 players, and we've got 2 teams, one playing in England, one playing in one which will play in Sri Lanka. But to send 24 players on one tour, this is inexplicable. I think Sri Lankan selectors need to be better.
absolutely, but no such problems for the England team. I mean, they've been running around fine in the white ball cricket, and suddenly looking at 25 players and looking at this England squad, this is a squad of seasoned performers, isn't it? Each of them is a match winner. Look at it's a very, very strong looking squad, even without Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer there.
We always talk about Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer, but I'll tell you one other name. I just picked up a couple of quotes on social media this morning. Where is Alex Hales? Alex Hales is the premier white ball batsman. Yes, there were controversies surrounding him, but he still cannot find a place. He's had his off-field problems. He served his penalty, but he still can't force a way into the team. That's how good this England team is. You know, pick any player in that team, he'll win you a match on his own.
He'll win you a match. The top five, the options that they have, you're right. I mean, Alex Sales was a formidable T20 player, but suddenly seems to have found like he's lost his way even in the leagues that wherever he's going and playing. We have still not been able to see the dominating performances that he used to win matches on his own. But how do you pick a top five from the batting order that England have? I mean, the strike rates that all of them possess and the ability for them to hit sixes. I mean, wow, what a batting order this is, even without Ben Stokes. And Jason Roy is average striking at 142. Formidable, really formidable.
Absolutely. Look at those numbers, Akhil. 142 for Jason Roy, Josh Butler 141, David Malan 144, Johnny Bairstow might be 139, but he's a far better player. Morgan's 138, but those numbers aren't reflective of the damage he can do. Give Morgan the last 4 or 5 overs, he'll kill the game. Absolutely kill the game. The one player whose name we do not see there is Sam Billings. Sam Billings, again, he's probably not a first choice player. But again, one of those, big destructive batsmen in that side.
Destructive batsman, he's gained experience by visiting and playing in different various leagues, and everybody rates him highly. So it's not as if it's just about being talked about only in England. And obviously, Arun, we've spoken about David Malan so much previously, also during the Indian T20 League, if you remember. He's still among the top T20 batsmen in the world. Yes, so this is a very interesting list. If you see, there is David Malan is still number one as a T20 batsman.
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. David Malan is number one in the world, right? But you look at the media in England, right? There's a lot of criticism that he doesn't get going, he doesn't fit into this England team. And the reason I say that is, people in England have come to expect players starting with a bang. We spoke about Butler, we spoke about Bairstow, we spoke about Morgan.
Smash it.
Yeah, Malan in his first 10, 12 balls will be a blocker, look for a one. So he's run a ball in the first 10, 12 balls. And that doesn't fit well with English cricket fans right now.
Interesting. I just hope he gets to bat enough overs. I like watching him bat. I like how he builds his T20 innings. In a way, he reminds me of a little bit of the modern kind of Michael Bevan, where he builds the inning and he knows where his scoring shots are and he knows he can get runs off those.
And remember, this team, this series and this squad that's been chosen is all towards in preparation for that World Cup, T20 World Cup.
Yes.
Yeah. So whatever England does or whatever Sri Lanka does is towards in preparation for that. And for that, the couple of answers that the England team need is how does Malan fit into that team? Like I said, I think there's a role in the subcontinent. He'll probably change the style of play. There'll be a lot more spin that he'll come across, and he'll probably try and go early. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Second thing I'm looking forward to is Moeen Ali. Again, another of those players who doesn't fit into the England team. I don't know why.
Impact here.
I mean, a player like Moeen Ali, look at those numbers, okay? Let me just read this out for you. In all his T20 eyes, 24 matches, right? 263. He hasn't batted too much, obviously. 13 wickets, right? But in T20 leagues in Asia, okay, could be the IPL, could be the PSL, could be wherever else. 34 matches, phenomenal performance, right? I cannot believe that England don't rate this player.
That strike rate is exceptional.
Yeah, and in
he
event
bats usually
in
at the
India,
top, right? In the event being in India or in Dubai, wherever the conditions are going to be absolutely perfect for Moeen Ali to get a game. But then if he's not going to bat in the top three, where does he bat? Because anyways, England are spoiled for choices for the top three. There is Bairstow, there is Jason Roy, and then there is probably the best white ball player, Josh Butler. You have to pick two of them to open, and then there is Malan at number 3. So it's a tricky one for the selectors. Spoiled for choices.
I still think there's room for Moeen Ali. Get him at number 7, even if it's number 7, right? Get him after Ben Stokes. I know that means left-hander, but look, Moeen is a good spinner. He will definitely get you wickets, and don't question his batting. Absolutely wrong.
Okay, perfect. So there is a very strong team. This is again a massive advantage that England is going to have in white ball cricket specifically. I mean, Ian Morgan is a proven performer. He's a proven captain. We've all seen what he's been able to do after the 2015 debacle that England have had. They've upped their ante in white ball cricket. Uh, Kusal Pereira still learning the ropes. Uh, what do you make of Kusal Pereira as a captain? I mean, he still has to prove himself as a T20 performer on the international stage. I don't think he plays too many leagues also as a T20 player. So it's a very interesting one. I would have gone for maybe a Niroshan Dikewala or somebody who has
Dickwella,
that
yeah.
kind of he has that kind of attitude to lead a team. He's always chirpy and wants to get into the opposition space. I think he's perfect for T20 cricket. He's like that street smart Pakistani cricketer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I come back to what I mentioned a few minutes ago. What is the vision that Sri Lankan selectors have? I mean, please explain to cricket fans all these selections. You know, you've also left out players like Angelo Matthews, Dinesh Chandimal. You know, these are big names, right? And these players still have some time left in them. You know, if you go back to Sri Lanka winning all those big titles, who were the players who led from the front? It was your Sangas, it was your Mahilas, right? The Malingas at that point in time. Sri Lankan selectors need to appreciate that experience counts to something. I'm disappointed. I rate Kusal Pereira, yes, but hey, you know, captaincy experience is not something that you can say you can learn. You can't read books,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, it's something that happens over years. I've always picked players' brains in the commentary box as to how do you become good captains. It's not cultivated overnight. You know, you start with selectors watch you, or administrators watch you from when you're 16 years old. They groom you from then. You don't become a captain just because somebody saw one spark in you. It's got to happen through the ranks.
I
Disappointing
mean,
that.
I correct. I understand where you're coming from, specifically for players like an Agnello Matthews. I mean, he's somebody who's been such an integral part for them. He was, I think, one of the rare players who's been a part of the team which won the T20 World Cup. So, I mean, I'm sure there are contractual issues that they are fighting amongst themselves. Uh, but I mean, it's criminal to leave him out, right? He's such an impact player in international cricket for them.
We spoke about, sorry, going back to a conversation we had a little while ago. We spoke about England being the top ranked side, and Sri Lanka lying low. Same with the captaincy experience, right? You've got somebody who's one of the most successful, a World Cup winning captain, if I can call it that, right? uh, Star obviously applies, but World Cup winning captain against somebody who's a novice. So they should have had, the selectors should have had somebody like a Matthews, or at least if tomorrow Kusal Pereira wants some advice, who does he look to on the field?
Yeah.
There's nobody who's captained a team for, let's say, 30, 40 ODIs or whatever the number. So that's the disappointing bit for me.
Okay. There is one player though that we have spotted and who we are looking forward to from the Sri Lankan squad. And if we can have a look at those numbers, he comes in with a lot of experience in the Lankan Premier League, the Lankan T20 League. There, he's an exciting all-rounder, right? That we are now looking forward to, who's in the squad.
Yeah, I mean, Vanindo Hasaranga is the player we're speaking about, and he's rated highly. I was in Sri Lanka just after the LPL and speaking to players around there, speaking to commentators, just speaking to people in the cricket fraternity. This fellow is rated highly. The numbers tell you a story. I mean, can score at a fair clip. 137 is good for when he bats, and yeah, I mean, look at his LPL numbers as well. Strike rate of 161, 17 wickets at an economy of just over 5. So it tells you this guy can do a thing or two on the
Outstanding
field.
record, yeah.
Yeah,
The outstanding
I'm
record. I
looking
mean, this
forward
is
to
an
him.
impact player.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Uh, this is Sri Lanka's record in since T20 in white ball cricket. And oh man, they've been really struggling. Uh, I've been tracking some of the series that they've last placed or played, Arun. They played in West Indies where they managed to win one match. That was the match I think which is won in T20s. Is reflecting here. They lost the series to West Indies again at home. They lost to New Zealand the series before that. So they've had a tough time in white ball cricket. I don't know what the selectors are going to do. Maybe they just need to accept and build a team. Say that we are going to build a squad which is going to stay constant for a while, but we'll go with those lot. What do you think about that approach?
You still cannot carry 24 players. That's my point. No, whittle it down to 18, 16, 24 is too many. Please, you tell me, there are 6 games on this tour. How
And
do
it's
you
not a
accommodate
test
those
match.
24? How do you accommodate those 24 players in 6 matches on this tour? I'll just refer to a Rahul Dravid quote I read a few days back. He said, "If you're on tour with me, I will make sure you get a game."
Get a game. Yeah.
Now tell me there are 24 players that the selectors, Sri Lankan selectors have named. How do they ensure? Like, what's the point of picking them there? Like, you can learn and watch. Learn and watch does not happen at the international level. There's a time and there's a space for it. At the international level, you want to go there on the field and feel the pulse, the pressure, the intensity of that level.
Okay, fantastic. So obviously, I know where you stand in terms of the favorites for the series. England start favorites by a long mile. The only good part, the exciting part that I'm looking forward to is having crowds again in the stadium to cheer both the teams on. I mean, it's a massive relief for everyone that crowds are going to be back in T20 cricket. They can all come in and enjoy the game, hopefully without any risks being associated. So England having crowds back and then followed by a big test season in India. So at least the spectators and the cricket fans in UK are going to be happy for a while now.
That's good. Welcome that. But I will add a message at the end before we finish. Fans, learn to value your sport, learn to appreciate your players. Don't be racist.
Okay, that's the message that we leave you from today, and we'll join you soon with capturing action from all the other formats, all the various leagues happening in world cricket. See you soon.